World War II was not simply a clash of armies. It was a collision of ideologies, empires, and futures. Between 1939 and 1945, the conflict pulled nearly every region of the planet into its orbit, transforming political borders, military doctrine, and global power structures. At the center of this vast struggle were not only nations and weapons, but individuals whose decisions shaped history. One of those figures was Omar Bradley, a commander whose leadership helped turn chaos into coordinated victory. This video explores the outbreak of World War II, its brutal scale, and the role of Omar Bradley within the Allied war effort, placing his story inside the broader machinery of the largest conflict humanity has ever fought. Why World War II began. World War II did not erupt suddenly. It was the delayed consequence of unresolved tensions left behind by World War I. The treaties that ended the earlier conflict punished some nations harshly, rewarded others unevenly, and failed to create lasting stability. Over the next 2 decades, economic collapse, nationalism, and resentment created fertile ground for authoritarian leaders. By the late 1930s, Europe stood on the edge of collapse. Germany, under Adolf Hitler, pursued aggressive territorial expansion, openly rejecting the post-World War I order. Italy and Japan followed similar paths, seeking dominance through military force. These nations would become known as the Axis powers. The immediate spark came in September 1939, when Germany launched a full-scale invasion of Poland. The attack combined massive ground forces with devastating air power, overwhelming Polish defenses in weeks. Britain and France, bound by defense agreements, declared war on Germany shortly after. The global conflict had begun. A total war unlike any before. What separated World War II from earlier conflicts was its total nature. Entire societies were mobilized. Factories became weapons producers. Civilians became strategic targets. Cities were bombed from the air. Economies were reshaped around survival and destruction. The scale of human loss remains staggering. An estimated 40 to 50 million people died during the war, making it the deadliest conflict in recorded history. Soldiers fell on battlefields across Europe, Africa, and Asia, while civilians suffered under occupation, bombardment, famine, and genocide. The Holocaust alone saw the systematic murder of millions of Jews and other groups targeted by Nazi ideology. This was not just a war of armies. It was a war of systems, ideas, and endurance. The United States enters the war. Initially, the United States remained officially neutral, watching the conflict unfold from across the Atlantic. That stance ended in December 1941, after Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. From that moment forward, the United States became a central force in both the European and Pacific theaters. American involvement brought enormous industrial power and fresh manpower into the Allied cause. It also elevated a new generation of military leaders, men who would have to learn modern warfare in real time. One of those leaders was Omar Bradley. The rise of Omar Bradley. Born in rural Missouri in 1893, Omar Bradley represented a different kind of military commander. He was not flamboyant, theatrical, or prone to dramatic speeches. Instead, he was calm, methodical, and deeply respected by the soldiers under his command. Bradley graduated from West Point in 1915, part of a class that would later be called the class the Stars Fell On because of how many graduates became generals. When World War II erupted, Bradley was serving as commandant of the U.S. Army Infantry School, where he helped modernize training for a new kind of mechanized war. His talent for organization and leadership soon placed him on the front lines. North Africa, learning modern warfare. Bradley's first major combat command came during the North African Campaign. Serving under General George S. Patton, Bradley took over 2 corps after early American setbacks. His task was daunting: rebuild morale, fix coordination problems, and turn inexperienced units into an effective fighting force. Under Bradley's leadership, U.S. forces improved rapidly. In May 1943, his troops helped capture Bizerte, contributing to the collapse of Axis resistance in North Africa. More than 250,000 Axis soldiers surrendered, an outcome that shocked the world and proved that Allied forces could defeat Germany in large-scale land combat. This victory marked a turning point not only in the campaign, but in American confidence, Sicily, and the path to Europe. Following North Africa, Bradley took part in the Allied invasion of Sicily. The campaign was complex and politically sensitive, involving coordination between American and British forces. Despite logistical challenges and fierce resistance, the operation succeeded by August 1943. Sicily provided the Allies with critical experience in amphibious landings, joint command structures, and large-scale coordination. Skills that would soon be tested on an even greater stage. Normandy, the crucible of the war. In 1944, Bradley was transferred to Britain and placed in command of the U.S. First Army. Under the overall leadership of Dwight D. Eisenhower and alongside British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, Bradley helped plan the largest amphibious invasion in history. On June 6, 1944, D-Day, Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy. Bradley personally oversaw American operations, including the brutal fighting at Omaha Beach. The landings were costly, chaotic, and uncertain, but they succeeded in establishing a foothold in Nazi-occupied Europe. From that moment forward, Germany was fighting a war it could no longer win, commanding the largest American force ever assembled. By August 1944, Bradley was promoted to command the U.S. 12th Army Group. This formation included the 1st, 3rd, 9th, and 15th Armies, over 1 million soldiers. It was the largest force ever placed under a single American commander. Under Bradley's direction, Allied forces advanced across France, Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and into Germany itself. The campaign was relentless. Cities were liberated. Supply lines were stretched. German resistance stiffened during the Battle of the Bulge, but ultimately failed. Bradley's leadership style emphasized coordination, patience, and minimizing unnecessary casualties, earning him the nickname the Soldier's General. Victory and the aftermath. Germany surrendered in May 1945. The war in Europe was over. Bradley returned to the United States as a national figure, widely respected by both political leaders and enlisted soldiers. He went on to serve as head of Veterans Affairs, helping manage the transition of millions of servicemen back into civilian life. In 1949, he became the first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, overseeing U.S. military policy during the early Cold War. His promotion to General of the Army placed him among the highest-ranking officers in American history. World War II's lasting impact. World War II reshaped the world in ways still felt today. Europe emerged devastated. Colonial empires weakened. Two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, rose to dominate global affairs. New institutions, including the United Nations, were created in hopes of preventing future catastrophes. The war also transformed warfare itself. Technology, logistics, intelligence, and joint command became central to military strategy. Leaders like Omar Bradley helped define how modern armies operate, not through spectacle, but through structure and discipline. Leadership in an age of destruction. World War II was a test of endurance for humanity. It revealed the depths of cruelty and the heights of cooperation. Amid the devastation, figures like Omar Bradley demonstrated that effective leadership does not require loudness or ego, only clarity, responsibility, and respect for those who serve. In a war defined by chaos, Bradley brought order. In a century shaped by violence, his legacy remains one of restraint, professionalism, and strategic intelligence. And in the story of World War II, that legacy still matters. Before you go, remember this: history isn't just about the past. It's about the decisions, leadership, and moments that still shape the world you live in today. If this deep dive into World War II and Omar Bradley gave you a new perspective, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next story that breaks down power, strategy, and the hidden lessons behind history.